You know, very often we don't appreciate what we have today, for it could be lost. All of a sudden. My name is Roman Viazovskiy. I'm a classical guitarist and pedagogue. I was born and grew up in Ukraine, in Donetsk, where I received my musical education in conducting and guitar in the Donetsk Music College and in the Donetsk State Conservatory. Now this academy is named after Sergei Prokofiev. Then, at the age of 22, I moved to Germany and continued my studies here, first in Münster at the Academy of Music, and then continued and finished at the Cologne Academy of Music, Aachen department. My teacher, Valery Nikitovich Ivko, used to tell me this phrase in class: Roma, you can't practice, as they say, half-heartedly, and go on stage and just about give it your all. You have to practice the instrument as if it's the last time you're doing it. You have to memorize the emotional state you're going to play on stage. You can't change those emotional states like masks while you're playing on stage. You have to live it, you have to ache for the piece. And that's what I used to do. That's what I do now when I practice guitar. It's almost always some kind of a mini concert, even if it's a lesson, if no one is in the room. Very often we don't appreciate what we have today, for it could be lost. All of a sudden. Because dystonia came to me out of nowhere. I played probably one of the best concerts I've played at the Kutna Horror Festival in 2011. I already had certain plans. There was a specific hearing of what I wanted to do. There were even some thoughts of playing a duet with someone, because the guitar sound itself at the moment was already not enough. But those were those kinds of ideas. And I came home after that concert, I took my guitar, and it was already with me. Yesterday it wasn't there, and today it is. I mean, it can happen to anyone, absolutely. And we don't think about it. I picked up the instrument, started practicing, and I saw at first that the fourth finger, when I start using it, it gets under the nail, not on the callus. You know, it feels as if the sight is off. You start correcting it, and it gives you a very uncomfortable impression, an uncomfortable feeling in your hand. And naturally you start first of all looking for a solution to the problem. And every time you pick up an instrument, and every time you ask yourself, are you here? Or are you gone already? I mean, problem, are you with me or not? Why does this happen? I think, first of all, it is my personal opinion. It is because we're trying to jump over our own shadow. Because of trying to do the impossible. And at some point, you know, it blows a fuse in the system and produces or makes a system failure. And I think it's primarily from overexertion. You know, if you make a scale from 0 to 10, how much tension you apply to the strings, I used to probably have all 15. I mean, well, for example, Scott Tennant at his school specifically described this point that you have to press lightly at first till the buzzing of the string appears, and then to apply more tension until you get a clear sound. This, I think, is the right way for the left hand. How much to press? How much pressure is enough to avoid putting too much pressure on it? It really helps me so much. So one of the things I do is by practicing, I do not press all the way down the sounds in the left hand. It doesn't always sound very pretty, but after that you can calibrate the whole process a little bit. The main recipe for overcoming dystonia is to remove overtensions in the body and in the hand, and is to play without strain. But that's easier to say than to do, isn't it? Because what is playing without tension? The question immediately follows, how intense will your playing be? Will it be, as they say, half-heartedly or with full commitment? Knowing today how dystonia arises, I do not know if I would do things differently. Perhaps, naturally, I would pay attention to certain nuances and moments. But I know that by removing this emotional state completely, I would lose myself. And I don't think I'm ready for that. Unfortunately, focal dystonia is such a complex damage, trauma, that there is no particular process or way of coping that works for everyone. I've struggled with it, let's put it that way, with all the known methods, except Botox injections. That is, when a person is injected with a poison that paralyzes certain nerve ends, they don't work. In the end, nothing, let's put it this way, nothing brought the desired result. And about 2 years ago, I said to myself, okay, what do we have? Option number 1, you just shut your guitar case lid and just play something from time to time, maybe. Or you actually do try to do something. And I pay attention to the way my left hand works when focal dystonia starts to occur. And I developed this technique for myself, where before the focal dystonia, let's say, shows up, I close the door in front of it. That means that I try not to let it get a hold of me. I mean, with certain combinations of fingers, it arises instantly. Therefore, what would be my answer? I need to prevent it from arising. I've been observing my hand for a long time. At what point does this entrapment occur? And I've figured out why, if I play 1, 2, and now my hand is in lock, that means I have to make some effort to play the next notes. And it doesn't happen, for example, if some finger plays a supporting note, but it doesn't play it and only touches it. Here's an example. And now the hand is basically doing what I want it to do. How is this reflected in music? Well, let's take, for example, Dos temas populares cubanos. Leo Brouwer, beginning. And, theoretically, it's impossible to play further. But there's another way to solve this problem, where I just touch the next string with my third finger. I had to pick my repertoire for a very long time. What I wanted to play and what was possible to play. And because of that moment, I started practicing again. And I saw a perspective that it was possible to make music professionally again. So that I would have something to say to my friends, music enthusiasts. By changing some things in my technique, this is what we have at this point in time. At some point, I just forgot it existed. Of course, sometimes it shows its face. But I try to make it so it doesn't really hit me hard. So, we are still together, and I think it will stay with me forever. It's just a question of how much it will keep me away from continuing to play. One of my most important rules. I don't have a hit or a pinch. I don't have apoyando and tirando in my usage. They don't exist in my vocabulary. I have another word for it. Touch. It can be harsh, it can be light, it can be soft and gentle, aggressive, but above all, it is important to completely change the attitude to the sound. It's a touch. And I think with this I can explain in one word exactly how I relate to the instrument and how I relate to the sound. I don't play. I touch the sound. That's one of my most important rules. And apoyando or tirando, they just serve as a means of expression, not as a technique. To understand the meaning of music, as I understand it, is to take a journey in which the performer, by touching the instrument, takes the listener by the hand and leads him from the first to the last note. And during this journey, it is important to make this person happy. So for that hour or for an hour and a half, he forgets about all his problems, all his difficulties, diseases, his family troubles. The performer makes his life nicer, easier, more pleasant. There is no better nourishment than music. The thing is, when I didn't have this gift of fate, let's put it that way, I thought the guitar was the absolute center of my life. You know, like, there's nothing else out there, and that was totally wrong. I mean, now I have a completely different attitude about the guitar. The guitar is the cherry on top now, and the cake is my family, my job, and it used to be the other way around. My personal view of how dystonia arises is probably a reflection of a human character trait like perfectionism. I don't see this as a positive thing, perfectionism. On one hand, it is very good if a person has this side of character, but on the other hand, it can lead to unexpected issues. And in this context, that's how perfectionism worked for me. I was always very tough on myself. I never liked the way I played. I was always in pursuit of some kind of ideal. When I was a teenager, one of my father's friends, a musician, said, "Roma, if you play a perfect concert at least once in your life, you can die in peace." I was confused. What do you mean, once? And so, I've already had several such concerts, which I'm very happy about. So, after a perfect concert, you go on stage the next time, and you expect to have another perfect concert, because it becomes a kind of an addiction, like a drug or so. You want that perfect concert. We're not talking about the perfect performance here, no. First of all, it's the perfect combination, the acoustics of the hall, your inner condition, your rapport with the audience. How does this performance process work for you in general? And I realized that I was in pursuit of this perfect performance all the time. And basically, one might say, I was rather ungrateful for what I had. It wasn't enough. I wanted to have it all the time, and only after I lost it all, shall we say, did I realize what I had lost. I had lost the ability to fully express myself. That means, for a certain period of time, could not talk through an instrument. I could not communicate. I could not communicate with people because I simply wasn't able to play the instrument. And now, I am very grateful that this opportunity has come up again, even if not in the way I would like it to come up, because I will never play. I know that today. I will never play the way I used to play. It's just not possible. But maybe I can play differently and get the joy out of it. I think that it was the vocal dystonia that showed me how much I love music and guitar. It's just a part of my life, absolutely integral. There are so many interesting young guitarists who are still playing competitions and so on, that sometimes it's very hard for, let's say, a certain concert organization or for a certain cycle of people who can influence their future to pick a worthy one. Everyone is talented in their own way, so I just want to wish them to find their own voice, and if they have found it, hold on to it. Just like that. Because that's what your inner instincts are going to tell you. Whether you're on the right way or not. If you found your own voice, hold on to it. There is no career ladder. We're all alone. We're all in the same boat, as they say. And the most important thing is for you to be pure and honest with yourselves, that you've done everything right in the name of music, not in the name of getting some financial gain through music. I think that should come first.